When you think of March, what do you think of? Probably St. Patrick's Day, the end of winter, but there's only one thing that I'm thinking of, and that is March Madness. Upsets, game winners, in all of a span of 2 to 3 weeks. The first round's only 2 days, and there may be 5 upsets, 6 game winners. That's what's great about March Madness. And today I'm going to be predicting every first round matchup pretty much. I'm going to be giving my thoughts about the teams. I'm going to try and do this quickly because there's a lot. So make sure you like and subscribe and comment who you think's going to win the whole tournament. I'm really curious and I'm just curious. So yeah, put it down in the comments. Who do you think's your Cinderella pick? Just all those things, anything March Madness really. And let's get into it. Okay, so UConn and Stetson. Not much to say. UConn, they're the best team right now. I'm going UConn. Okay, FAU and Northwestern. Northwestern just lost in the Big Ten tournament to Wisconsin, but they looked good in that game. They looked like Northwestern, but FAU, they're a Final Four team, and they're going to beat Northwestern in this game. So UConn and FAU will be the second round matchup. So on Thursday and Friday, the games are. So after the first round games are done, I will be doing the second round, and just like that. But today's the first round, so let's get it. And San Diego State versus UAB. I'm going San Diego State here, another Final Four team from last year. And UAB, they just don't. They're in a bad conference, and they just have some bad losses. They have some good wins, but they have some bad losses. So yeah, San Diego State for me definitely. Auburn and Yale. This is easy for me. Yale, they're not that great of a team, and they played Brown in the championship. That's basically all I have to say. And but Auburn, they just won the SEC, which you can say is the best conference in college basketball. I think they should be higher than a 4 seed, honestly. But yeah. Next, BYU and Duquesne. Probably not saying that right, but who cares? But I'm going BYU. Just too good of a shooting team, honestly. They just have so many great shooters on that team, and a team like this that's playing I don't want to say bad teams, but not in the greatest conference. BYU's definitely going to surprise them with a bunch of 3-point shots, and they're not going to be able to keep up. So I'm going BYU, but they're 11 seed for a reason. They might have a fight to them that I don't see. Okay, Illinois and Morehead State. A lot of people had Morehead State, which actually really surprised me, because Morehead State, they've had some bad losses. And I understand Illinois is not a 3 seed in my opinion. I think they should be lower. They won the Big Ten, so that basically just gives them a 3 seed. But Illinois still will get the win, but I don't know if they deserve a 3 seed. Next, Washington State and Drake. This is going to be a first upset, and it's kind of a weak upset, 10-7. But it's an upset, so I'm going Drake. And Washington State, they play in the Pac-12. They beat some good teams like Oregon, Colorado. But Drake, this is one of the toughest. This is a tough conference. They just had Indiana State this year, who was ranked at one time. They've had a couple ranked teams in that division. Yeah, and they beat them all. They've been consistent defensively and offensively. And yeah, Drake. Definitely, I have Drake winning this one. Next, Iowa State and San Diego State. I'm going Iowa State. Not really much to say there. San Diego State, kind of the same with Morehead State and Yale, just not in a great conference when Iowa State is. But San Diego State, they should be higher than 15 seed. I think they're really good, and yeah, but Iowa's definitely not as good as Iowa State, so Iowa State definitely winning that. Okay, next, we go down to the West, where North Carolina will play. I think it's either Howard or Wagner. It doesn't really say here, but I'm going North Carolina anyway. Mississippi State and Michigan State. I heard on Selection Sunday that Tom Izzo, coach of Michigan State, is 65% win when he's the lower seed. But I don't care, because Mississippi State's a better team, and Mississippi State's going to be that 35% that wins. And they're just in an SEC. They beat some good teams. SEC, I think, personally, is tougher than the Big Ten, especially this year. I think Big Ten is usually the best, but this year SEC is better. I think Big 12 and Pac-12 can make an argument for that too, even at ACC. But I'm going Mississippi State over Michigan State, just because Michigan State, they've lost to some okay teams like Indiana. Okay, St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. I'm going St. Mary's. Not much to say about that. I had some Grand Canyon people at my school today, and I just don't really see how Grand Canyon wins this. So I'm going St. Mary's there. Alabama in Charleston. Alabama, they used to be a football school, not anymore, because Alabama is really good this year. And the SEC, it's so tough to be a good team in the SEC, and we'll get to other SEC teams too. I just don't think Charleston can keep up. This could be an upset game, but I don't think so. Okay, sorry. Clemson and New Mexico. Clemson coming out of the ACC. But New Mexico, they look so good. You don't understand. They beat Utah State. They beat all the great teams in their conference, and there are a lot. It's surprising how many great teams are out of that conference, and like Utah State and others. But I'm going New Mexico here, the 11 seed. They also have Nevada. They have some other really tough teams. Yeah, New Mexico State. I just haven't saw a lot from Clemson myself as well, so I'm going New Mexico State there. Next, Baylor and Colgate. Colgate, stick to toothpaste. I'm going with Baylor. Dayton in Nevada. I talked about this one. I feel like Dayton, they've beaten teams that are like above average in their conference. They haven't beat like good teams. You know what I'm saying? Like when it comes to non-conference play, they're not the best, and that's where March Madness comes into play. I'm going Nevada here because they played in the Pac-12, and it's so tough to win there. And speaking of, Arizona beats Long Beach State. Long Beach State, their coach is about to leave until they won the conference tournament. And yeah, 15 seed for a reason. I just don't think they can keep up with Arizona. Okay, now we go to the other half of the bracket where Houston plays Longwood and Houston wins. Nebraska plays Texas A&M and Nebraska wins. As an IU fan, it sucked to watch IU versus Nebraska because Nebraska would hit 3 after 3 after 3, and they're just so good. I don't see how Texas A&M really plays with them. Honestly, I go Nebraska easy there. Wisconsin and James Madison. James Madison was 31-3. I don't care what conference you're in. If you're 31-3, you deserve a first-round win. And Wisconsin, we talked about it. They got to the Big Ten championship, but they lost to teams like IU again, as I'm bringing up, and like Michigan State. I'm going James Madison here. It's just that James Madison, they beat Michigan State, the 4-seed Michigan State, when they had all their healthy players too. So next, Duke and Vermont. I'm going Duke. Not much to say about that one. Texas Tech and NC State. NC State just won the ACC, beating Duke and North Carolina. They are red hot, and they're going to continue that into March Madness, winning 5 games in 5 days, and now they got a break. This team's going to be amazing. NC State beating Texas Tech. I can see how Texas Tech can win that, but I'm definitely going to NC State. Okay, Kentucky and Oakland. I'm going Kentucky. Not much to say about that. Florida and Boise State or Colorado. Colorado is going to beat Boise State first off, and then Colorado is going to beat Florida. Colorado, I'm talking about the Pac-12. Everybody in the Pac-12 that made this tournament is great, and Florida, they're one of the bottom half teams in the SEC, and that'll show, honestly. I really like Colorado in this matchup. And Marquette and Western Kentucky. I actually saw some Western Kentucky wins today, just because somebody's got to put a 15 seed in there. But I just don't see it happening. I understand Marquette is known for having upset potential, but no way. I don't see Marquette losing this early again. Next, Purdue. Speaking of not losing this early again, as an IU fan, it hurts, but I'm gonna go Purdue winning that one. Utah State and TCU. TCU, they just lost too many conference games, and so I'm gonna go Utah State. That's a tough conference to play in. Gonzaga and McNeese. I told you earlier that if you're 31 or 30-3 in your conference, you deserve a first-round win. Gonzaga's lost to St. Mary's. They've even lost to San Francisco, teams like that. And McNeese, they're on like a 15-game winning streak after winning their conference. They're not getting slowed down. McNeese is winning this. Okay, Kansas and Samford. I've talked about Kansas before, and they're just so beat up. And they didn't even have a big lineup to begin with, and now they're just so injured. And Samford winning their division, that is huge. I'm going Samford here. Just because if Kansas was completely healthy, oh my gosh, that might go Final Four, Elite Eight, even maybe the final. But they're not, so I'm going Stanford. Okay, South Carolina and Oregon going to the final kind of eighth of the tournament here. Oh, I didn't even notice the first four. We'll do those in a second. So South Carolina and Oregon. I'm gonna go Oregon. South Carolina, they've had some good wins in the SEC, and they've had some very bad losses. So because of that, I'm going Oregon, who's been pretty consecutive, pretty conservative as well. And so I'm going Oregon in the Pac-12. So Creighton and Akron. Akron shouldn't even be here. If you watched on highlights or something, Akron versus Kent State should have won. One of their players forgot the time, forgot the score, and because of that, Akron won, which is just, I feel so bad for Kent State, but even if Kent State would have got here, I don't think they would have won. But I'm going Creighton. They just look so good coming out of the Big 12. They beat teams like UConn, teams that are really good coming out of there. They beat Marquette, all the great teams. Creighton is one of the most underrated teams. They could go all the way, and I think they might be able to. Next, looks like Texas and Virginia versus Colorado State. Whoever wins that one, I'm going Texas either way. Now the final game, actually we got the first four still, but I'm going Tennessee versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's, they love being the 15th seed, but they got their time. It's Tennessee's time, and Tennessee the final game, and I just don't see how St. Peter's, they were the 5 seed in the conference. They won it. They won the conference championship, and I just don't see it. Now we're going to the first four to finish it off. Boise and Colorado. I already said Colorado is going to win that. If you can click it, I don't know how. Montana State and Grambling. Montana State's tougher. Virginia and Colorado State. I'm actually going Colorado State and Howard and Wagner. Final game. I'm going Howard. Doesn't really matter because they're going to lose to North Carolina. But there's mine. If you disagree, put it in the comments. If you have a person winning, put it in the comments. I'm just really curious what people think. It's March Madness. Anything could happen. So if you have a 16 seed winning, 14, 15, 13 even, 12 even, just put it down. I'm really curious if you have a 12 seed going really far. Put it in the comments, like, subscribe, and I will see you for round 2 in a couple days. So see you there.